Hi, my astrology friends. This is your weekly horoscope for the first week of April, basically from the 3rd to the 10th of April. And I said that I was going to take a month away, but this week is just so exciting astrologically. There's so many things to mention that I want to explain to you from a deep esoteric astrologic point of view. And you can learn in the process and understand what's happening, because big alchemical transformations are going to be happening this week and the next few weeks within us, within our hearts. And I just had to pop in and record this video for 20-30 minutes and to walk you through the week, because it's exciting what's happening. Venus is retrograde and it's in a new phase already of its retrogradation, which is its new beginning cycle. I want to talk about that and what it means for your love life and relationships. And it's moving back into Pisces, and it's going to be holding for the whole month a difficult aspect with Saturn, and what it means for people, especially Taurus and Libra ruled people, but all women overall and people that are interested in relationships, how it's going to affect them. And we have Saturn going retrograde. Saturn goes retrograde every year, but what does it mean? It goes retrograde in a different part of your horoscope. And this year in particular, what does it mean for you? How it's going to impact you? And Mercury is stationary. It's about to go retrograde as well. So we have like a few planets that are stationary, sitting in one place and about to change. And Venus is about to change direction the week after that. So we have like planets sitting in the sky without moving. This is unique. I'll explain to you what it means from the ancient astrological point of view. And we also have aspects that are happening, Sun opposition, Jupiter, which usually tends to coincide with the peak of markets. And after that, the market starts going down a little bit. We'll speak about that as well and how it's going to impact you personally. And we have a few other aspects that are helpful and what it's good about. So stay tuned. We're going to go through everything. You know me, I talk fast. I'll try not to take too much of your time, guys. Thank you for joining me. I know time is of essence now, but things are slowing down now, so we'll have more time because all planets are slowing down. And so that's the week from the 3rd of April till the 10th of April. We're in Aries season, as you know already. So the sun is in Aries and the moon is growing. This is called the month of Nisan. It's just started now, the beginning of April. The month of Nisan, the lunar month of Nisan, is when new beginnings should be started. So just generally for everyone, I'm telling you this week, when the moon is growing, the sun is already in Aries, new beginnings, amazing times to start new projects that you want to grow over the years, over the time. If you want those projects to be, to be expanding, even though planets will be changing their direction, will be changing how they impact us. If you want to start new projects, you have the green light, but you have to take certain things into considerations, which I'm going to be talking about. Speaking about Aries season, don't forget that on the 14th of May, I'm starting Astrology 101 from the beginnings, from foundations. Anyone who wants to learn astrology with me, we're going to take a 6-month course, and each month we'll do 2 zodiac signs. We're starting with Aries on the 14th of May and Taurus 2 weeks after that. And it's going to be 3 to 4 hours every Sunday, every other Sunday. And we're going to be talking about each sign in depth, what it means to have planets there, what it means to have Aries affecting your relationships, for example. Some people have Aries in the 7th house of relationships. Everyone has Aries somewhere in their horoscope. So we're going to talk what it means. Say Aries, if Aries rules your career, what it means. What it means if you have Aries ruling your money, what is your best strategy to make money. And how to find all those things from the scratch, from the start. Anyone who wants to learn astrology with me, you'll know it like a master after that, after those 6 months. And if you take the full course, it's 50% off, or you can just take Aries, or you can just take Gemini in a few weeks, And we're going to talk, for example, did you know that Aries people can benefit a lot from partnerships financially? Why this is so? We're going to see all those little details, like Aries 7th house of relationship is also ruled by the same planet that rules money for them. So we're going to go into a very interesting territory with the signs, each sign in depth, and you can do astrology after that professionally. But let's get back to this week after my little commercial. So just wanted to mention that, remember, maybe if you watched the week before that Venus is moving before the sun. if this is the sun, Venus has come back, it's been moving backwards, and it coincided with the sun a few days ago, and Venus is moving away from the sun now in the opposite direction. Venus became a morning star. This is when the new cycle of 19 months of Venus has started. And it means that new impulses for relationships, new exciting developments in relationships should be happening, because until the 15th of April, Venus is still moving retrograde, which means it's moving backwards in the horoscope. So it's still time for reevaluations, reassessments. But these reevaluations and assessments are moving you to a new quantum level of psychologically in regards to your attitude to relationships. Maybe not everyone will feel it. People who mostly have Aries and Pisces influences in their horoscope, or who have planets in the last degrees of the signs I'll give you examples who the exact days and degrees people who are born who feel it the most. But generally, this is a time for everyone in the world where there is a new start of how your attitude in regards to relationships. And Venus becomes very independent when it becomes morning star, and it's going to be morning star for a few months, and it becomes more wild as well, and it becomes more me focused, self focused, because Venus rises before the sun now in the morning, which means that you start taking more care of yourself, and in regards to relationships, in regards to contracts, in regards to agreements, in regards to how you deal with other people. Venus rules all those things. And if you're an artist, Venus rules any artistic expressions, any beauty, harmony, you know, and this is what artists do, designers, architects, whatever. Venus rules all those people who are beautifying and our world in some way. And when Venus becomes morning star, this is when new kind of ideas start coming to them, and when they go off the beaten path, when they become much more how do I say, experimental with their art, and when they're willing to take risks and chances, to be honest. And that will be active for a few months as well. But you start noticing now, guys, in regards to relationships, that some new perspectives are coming to you. And you know, retrograde planets, they never like just move forward and then go back exactly over the same path. A retrograde planet, while it's retrograde till the 14th of April, if it's been moving forward, it will make a loop like that and go back. So a retrograde planet, it's about taking a detour. It's not about just, you know, tracing back exactly the same steps from the past in regards to your relationships or something. Just the opposite. It's like when a planet is retrograde, you've been driving forward, and you know where the road leads when the planet is moving forward. So you're kind of almost driving by automatically, you know. And all of a sudden, you're supposed to get to your destination, but there is a detour and you have to take a totally new road. So you have to, when a planet goes retrograde, exactly this happens. The things that it rules in our life, we have to become much more aware of them. We have to become much more conscious of them. We have to slow down, because we have to find a new path for them. And this new path can take us to on a great journey, much more scenic path. It can take us through instead of going through the forest where we don't see anything, this path of detour of the planet can take us through the scenic journey through the beach, you know, and you can discover a new path, and you can go off the beaten path. This is what happens when planets are retrograde, guys. You go off the beaten path and you see different perspectives. And many people can feel disrupted because we're having Venus retrograde, Saturn is becoming retrograde, and Mercury is becoming retrograde, and Jupiter is already retrograde. So we're having many planets that are making this loop, and the loop sometimes can look like that as well. You know, it just makes weird movements when a planet is retrograde, but it never repeats the same old steps. Basically, yeah, things from the past do come back, but in a very different light, like a boyfriend that comes from the past with Venus retrograde, but you see him in a totally different light. You see him either as you forgive him and you see him as a better person, or you see like, oh, what a loser, I no longer feel pain that I separated with this person. Or an artistic project comes back to you and you see it with different eyes, and you see different potential, and you revive it there, and you make it much better. Or business deal comes to you with Mercury going retrograde, and you see it, or commercial activity of some sort, and you see it and you see something you didn't notice before. So those retrograde planets, when every astrologer says, oh, don't do anything, hide yourself, bury your head, die. What else can you do during great retrograde periods? Because people are so scared from retrograde periods, but they're actually a new perspective. Retrograde periods give us a loop, an ability to go from a detour to see maybe better scenery, better options that we were not aware of, to correct, to improve on something. So this week, all the energy starts becoming so retrograde, because Saturn is going retrograde. Jupiter, the four important planets that matter are five, that rule everything visible are Saturn, Jupiter, Venus, Mercury, and Mars. And out of those 5 planets that rule everything tangible and visible in the world, and these are the planets that we see moving with the naked eye, 4 are retrograde starting from this week, or going into a retrograde phase. So we're coming almost like to a, and especially this week, they're almost like not moving. They're coming to a standstill, almost those 4 planets. Only Mars is moving forward, which means that even though we'll be making big detours with the other 4 planets, Mars is the planet of action. We'll still be able to act and have results of our actions without having blockages. We'll still be able to forge forward, because Mars is about forging forward, but through a very different perspective, because those planets that are retrograde will give us this different perspective. And this loop that Venus has been making, and Venus is already morning star. It's much more actually, the ancient worlds was saying that Venus is a morning star. It's very belligerent. It can even cause wars and stuff. It was a masculine energy as well. And I see that women are getting pissed off when Venus goes. Because Venus naturally rules women. And women becoming, they want to do what they want to do. And they don't want to be under someone's thumb. And they want to be more independent. And generally, when it comes to relationship, people start considering what is good for them, rather than making compromise for the others, rather than serving and giving and without consideration for themselves. Venus becomes more, I don't say selfish, but I would say more, because it's its new cycle that it started. And what happens when you're newborn? Your needs are foremost, like a baby. It needs to eat. Its needs are the foremost. You have to take care of your needs to survive. So when it comes to relationships, I believe like now people will already into this week, they're going to start putting forward their own needs in relationship, what is good for them, and business contracts and agreements of any sort, which is what Venus rules. Or if you're an artist and you have an art and you're creating something, you're going to say, fuck it with the system. I'm dating off the beaten track. I'm going to do what I consider beautiful, or what I consider, I'm going to experiment with here, try something a bit different, and that continues for a few months, that Venus is the morning star. But just another 14 days that Venus is retrograde and it's morning star as well. So you have till the 14th of April when some really powerful realizations will happen, because the retrograde motion, remember what we said, it gives you a different perspective of the beaten track. It gives you an opportunity, and it takes you out of your daily normal routines and ways of behaviors and seeing things. So some people find it very disruptive. People that don't like surprises, people that don't like changes, people that don't like new perspectives, they find it disruptive when the planet is retrograde. But people who need new perspectives, they can welcome this period till the 14th of April to see their relationships from a different point of view, to see their contracts, to see their beauty, and how they beautify themselves, and how they self-love. Venus is self-love. What do you consider beautiful? What self-worth from a different point of view? And that's when the real changes happen within us, only while planets are retrograde and making a loop and seeing things from a different perspective. So we can change in a big way till the 14th of April, have some realizations in regards to our self-worth. What is stopping money flow as well? Venus rules money. What is blocking money flow? What is stopping love coming towards us, or we giving love to others? And how have we allow others to take advantage of us or to underestimate us in some way? Because, by the way, all the time, almost to the end of April, Venus will be making a difficult aspect and starting from this week with Saturn. And while Venus is in this phase, so if this is the wheel here, astrological wheel, let's say Venus passes into Pisces. Venus will be here in Pisces. And Saturn is here in Sagittarius. And they're making a 90-degree aspect the whole April, which we in astrology consider a stressful aspect, because once Venus enters into Pisces this week, guys, it stays there. It stays around that degree of Pisces for becomes stationary. And I don't know if you remember, but we spoke that when planets are stationary, they become extremely powerful. And Venus stays there almost till the end of April, on around the same degree where Saturn is, at the around the 27th degree, basically, of, and all those signs, Gemini, Virgo, they'll all be affected. And I'll give you degrees. But with so many, and remember, Saturn is also going retrograde, Venus is retrograde, and they're stationary. The whole of April almost, it looks like they're on the same degree. And if you've taken my course on retrograde planets in the birth chart, you'll know that people that have retrograde planets in the horoscope, they're very unique people. If you haven't taken it, I've put a link about it. But anyone who has retrograde planets, they tend to have this really unique, off the beaten track view about life, and they might be considered like almost like by others in some way, they might be considered outcasts or rebels, or not accepted because they're not following the beaten track. If you have it in the birth chart, and also retrograde planets make a person not only unique, but sometimes can be downright zany. And so the same way when planets become retrograde in the sky, very unique activities start happening in our world, and very unique perspective. And people with retrograde planets or stationary planets, which I speak about in that course, retrograde planets in your horoscope, these are the strongest planets in their horoscope. These are not weaknesses, actually. They're difficult, but these are not weaknesses, they're biggest strengths. And the same way when a planet is stationary or about to change direction, just like Venus is, just like Saturn is, the whole of it's changing direction already this week, Saturn, but it almost stays at the same degree for the whole month. So it looks like it's not moving. And so the same looks for Venus for most of April, that is just sitting stationary there at one point. And the same will matter for Mercury this week as well, is that the perspective is changing. When a planet slows down, and I've been giving this example, it's like as if you're walking on concrete and you're leaving some marks. When the planet is moving direct, you're leaving some marks on a drying concrete. And then all of a sudden, a planet becomes stationary. So you stop. What happens when you stop in concrete? You start sinking. In drying concrete, you start sinking, so you make much more powerful impact and imprint. In the same way, a stationary planet that's about to change direction, which is all happening this week, Venus, Saturn, Mercury, they're all almost stationary, about to change direction. Within 10 days of a stationary planet is when a planet is almost not moving, when it makes a big imprint into our reality. Till now, it's been moving in one direction. It's been making fast steps, little imprints, now a deep imprint. So this is when some of the most important events in our lives happen, when a planet becomes stationary, especially Saturn, Jupiter, Venus, those, and Mercury. Those four planets are the ones that, or Mars, but Mars is not going retrograde or stationary. And so I'm expecting, and it's been seen statistically, when a planet becomes retrograde, anything you have within those degrees where the planet is stationary, about to change direction, if you have anything in your horoscope, and I'll tell you who those people will be, this thing can totally turn around in your life, can totally change direction in your life. And this is when the big events, the big developments in life can happen. I can give you an example. When Mars went retrograde last year, I left my marriage. It became stationary and retrograde, and your perspective totally changes. There is no bad or good, that I'm judging, but something happens to you, and if it affects planets in your horoscope, this is when the big things happen. This is when, even if those planets are 4 or 5 degrees away, if they're within 7 degrees from the degree of the retrograde planet, this is when your life turns around, guys. This is when you take big, either because of outside developments or because something within you changes in a profound way, makes such a big impact, and you decide to go in another direction. So who exactly is going to be feeling this? And especially this Saturn going retrograde, changing direction at around 27 degrees. Venus being stationary in Pisces. Let me give you the dates. So listen carefully. Who will feel it most strongly? Where is it? I'm just looking at. So it's happening around the last degrees of all the mutable signs. I would say from around 26 degrees, not 26, 25 degrees, the last 5 degrees of the mutable signs, which means people that have their sun. So from 25 to 30 degrees in Pisces, Gemini, Virgo, or Sagittarius. People that have anything there, you can go to my birth chart calculator at astrolada.com, enter your details of birth, and if you happen to see in the planetary detail table, if you happen to see any planet which is from 25 to 30 degrees in Pisces, Gemini, Virgo, or Sagittarius, this can be a week that transforms your life, and actually the whole month of April, because of those two stationary planets changing direction at those last 5 degrees of the mutable signs. And those of you who don't know astrology so much in depth, I would just give you those people what your sun sign is. Basically, if you are born from around the 15th of March till the 20th of April, which means that your sun is around those degrees. If you are born Gemini from around the 16th of June till around the 22nd of June, this means your sun is in the last 5 degrees of Gemini. Or if you're Virgos that are born from around the 18th of September to around the 23rd of September, your sun is in the last 5 degrees of Virgo. Or if you're Sagittarius, which are born from around the 16th, 17th of December to around the 22nd of December, so the last 5 degrees of Sagittarius, you know. Or if you go to your planetary detail table, if you enter your details, you can also check in case you have your moon there in the last 5 degrees of those 4 signs. In case you have your Mercury there, it means that friendships can be affected, your business might be affected, your communications might be affected, your siblings and relatives. Or if you have Venus in those degrees, your relationships will take a totally different direction. Your sense of your money can take totally different directions with Venus being in the last 5 degrees of any of those signs that we mentioned. If your Saturn, it's in the last 5 degrees of those signs, those mutable signs that we mentioned, it might mean that the structures in your life, in your work, can take a totally new direction. When the sun is there, your whole personality, your whole career as well, the sun rules career, important men in your life can be big developments and making changes there as well. You know, so it depends which planet. For the moon, if your moon falls in those degrees, it's your personal life and how you perceive yourself and relationships with women and important emotional attachments and relationships. So your family life or place of living, you might make certain decisions to change over the whole of April, starting with this week, that important developments can be happening there, you know. You know, depending which planet it is, and we're not gonna go, I don't wanna make it too complicated for you guys, but for everyone, even if you don't have planets there, you're gonna feel the Venus square Saturn the whole of April, starting from this week. And because it's so rare, okay, usually Venus can square Saturn, make a difficult aspect to Saturn 4 times a year, sometimes, you know. But it's just very rare. I don't remember the last time when I was an astrologer when it happened. And usually it happens in 2-3 days that Venus squares Saturn. So very quickly this passes. But now this year, this April, starting from this week, it continues for the whole month. So that's like, so I don't know. The previous Venus retrogrades never had Venus square Saturn for so long. No, not since I've been alive or since I've been doing astrology. So I expect this to be a big one, especially because Venus rules all women and all relationships. And Saturn is about reassessment. Saturn is about the awakening to the harsh reality. So Saturn is about being realistic. It's gonna come and like slap you and wake you up from some invented reality, because Venus in Pisces, Pisces is the sign of imagination, of sacrifice, of giving more than receiving, of, you know, because Venus, this aspect is happening, we have to look at the signs. So Pisces is sacrifice, giving more than receiving. It's about allowing someone to take advantage. It's about, it's a beautiful sign for Venus, by the way, because love should be unconditional. It's about where you gave love unconditionally. But if you were taken advantage of, or if this really actually drained you much more than it gave you back in any way, even if it didn't give you back emotionally, psychologically, not necessarily financially, but Venus rules money, love, relationships, contracts, all interpersonal relationships, Venus rules it. For love or business and all money transactions, Venus rules it. So it rules such important things in our life. And our self-worth. How much do we love ourselves, and how much do we consider we're worth anything at all, you know? And Venus in Pisces, if we had some illusions about our worth, self-worth, whether low or whether unrealistically high, Saturn now in April is going to give us a reality check. It's kind of like, and it can be a great reality check. It can mean, and Venus, remember, till the middle of April is retrograde, so giving a very different perspective and willing to make changes. And so what can happen? There are different possibilities. I mean, there, and this is, again, I repeat, the whole of April it's active. Okay, what can happen? A rude awakening in regards to what you're worth. A rude awakening in regard, and almost like combined with a sense of resentment, it can come, because Saturn can create a feeling of, I've been taken advantage of, and I want my self-worth, and I've given too much without receiving back, for example. This is one way it can pay off. And Saturn awakens you. Saturn is reality and hard facts. Or you might have overestimated yourself and thought, there is no one like me. Of course, there is no one like you. It's true, but like I'm irreplaceable. There is nothing, you know, your self-worth can be unrealistic, because Pisces is, it's something that's as ideas in our head. It's not necessarily reality. And Saturn comes and says, my friend, you're replaceable. My friend, you overestimate yourself. You've been taking too much without giving enough. So we'll see. For some people, it will be the opposite. Some people will awaken that to the idea that they've been taken for a fool, or that they've been giving too much, whether it's in love, whether it's in regards to money, whether it's in regards to relationships, whether it's in regards to your self-worth, whether it's in regards to money as well. All those things ruled by Venus. And others will have a different reality check, that if they've been skewing how valuable they are, or if they've been taking more, and if they've been playing victim and playing and manipulating on other people's feelings, because Pisces, this is the negative side of Venus in Pisces, is when either someone plays the victim for you, tries to manipulate you, and playing on your good heart and feelings and good unconditional love, and you become aware of it. Remember, stationary planets, you slow down and you become aware. All of a sudden, you're like, wow, I was rushing so quickly ahead. I didn't slow down, and now I slowed down and I'm becoming aware of such details I didn't saw earlier. It's stationary planets about to change directions are like a person in meditation. This is what the ancient people say. They're like a person who is sitting in meditation, and all of a sudden becomes way more aware, way more conscious. And it might not feel pleasant or easy. It might feel like a disruption from your normal path. It can normal routine. That's why people get frustrated, and because they see things so differently, and they make big changes in their life, or the outer circumstances change in a big way during those periods, that they feel like these periods are difficult, but actually they're great because they bring more awareness. And the key word for April, with all those retrograde planets changing direction, is awareness. you become more aware. You notice things you didn't notice, details you didn't notice. And we're talking about love, money. And remember, I told you who will feel this very strongly on the outer level, but everyone can feel it just within themselves, because this combination is active for everyone in the sky. So some of them, so reevaluations and changes that the universe will show you in regards to how you value yourself, in regards to your money, in regards to your self-love, in regards to contracts and relationships, business or personal, that Saturn is awakening you to. Another way it can play out, Venus, as we said, is people, anything that is connected to work, that's to do with design, with beauty, with art, with entertainment, working with women, doing contracts, diplomacy, luxury sales, products that are beautiful, like clothes, like fashion, or any kind of luxury products, yachts, holidays, anything that's enjoyable. This is Venus. Anything that gives us this kind of hedonistic feeling of enjoying. If you're in any kind of business that's connected to Venus, and also counseling and advising is Venus. You see how many businesses are ruled or careers by Venus? Nursing is Venus, massaging is Venus, prostitution is Venus, making others happy in some way is Venus. Astrologers are ruled by Venus, because people come to you to nurse them, to give them a soothing understanding for the future. But Venus rules, luxuries, all those things, beauty, art. So if you're in any career that's Venusian, the whole of April, Saturn is making a difficult aspect to Venus, but this can play well because Saturn naturally rules duties and responsibilities. And this can make you, and Saturn rules manifestation, materialization, and making something tangible. And remember, both Saturn and Venus are extremely strong from this week because they're stationary, because they're changing direction. They're making this huge imprint in the fabric of reality. So people that are in Venusian careers might have extra responsibilities that come to you, extra heavy, extra demanding things. Maybe a boss that comes to you and that requires you that you complete that creative project much faster, or that criticizes you and tells you need to do it better, go over it a few times, or gives you 5 times more work. Or if you're working for yourself, you're working on some creative or beauty project, or some working with women, or working in entertainment or in art in some way, or working in nursing, or all those Venusian careers that I mentioned, or diplomacy or counseling or advising. And it just can feel that you're having so much more duties and responsibilities now, that you really have to give it your best on some project that is connected to such Venus activities, that you really have to. You might be even designing a website, and Venus is design and beauty, and how there might be some blockages and frustrations because it's a difficult aspect, but it's there only to make you work harder and to make you, even if there is more judgment and more frustration, the final product should be much more proper, much more socially acceptable, perfected, which is what Saturn wants. And even if you felt, and women can feel especially more frustrated generally, because Venus are ruled by, women are ruled by Venus. Saturn, maybe there'll be more, they'll have more responsibilities with all the people, or more self-critical approach towards themselves, towards their beauty, and everyone in the world, towards how they look. But Saturn also makes you work harder. So if you're dissatisfied with something about your appearance, which is Venus, or about your Venusian career, which we mentioned what it is, Saturn will make you get down to work. The dirty work is Saturn. Saturn rules cleaners and servants. So it's within our own consciousness. This is the consciousness that says, okay, I'm going to go down to the dirty work and now finally start that diet that make me restrict my calories. So that makes me, improve my physical appearance in some way, because Venus rules beauty. Or I'm finally going to take this creative project and clean it up and make it more, streamline it, because Saturn wants simplicity. Saturn wants more of a to reduce, to make smaller, to make more practical, to make more efficient. This is the final purpose of Saturn. But it just might feel like the universe is clipping things from your life, especially pleasures that are too hedonistic might be removed now in April for many people, like overeating. And Saturn punishes. When it affects Venus, it will punish any overindulgence that is Venusian's in April. I don't want to scare you. Punish means there'll be just more repercussions because Saturn is the planet of karma and seeing the results of your actions. So from overeating, overindulging in sensual, sexual things, from over abusing relationships, from unequal contracts, from overspending. So the strategy for success for the next 1 month, starting from this week, is be financially cautious, first of all, because Saturn is traditional planet. It wants, if you're going to be making some financial investments and changes, they should be towards reducing, making smaller, towards tying up loose ends financially. Or if you're going to be investing in something financially, which is Venus is our money and how we deal with them, it should be in something that's more traditional, that's more conservative, in something that has withstand the test of time, like property. Saturn can rule property structures, something that will have long-term return. If you're going in this April for fast financial returns, it's not going to work because Venus, the planet of finances, is aspected by Saturn. You have to be cautious. Get an advisor. Speak with someone. If you make any investments, do it in traditional, in a more in something that's been tested and proven to work, rather than in innovative new ways, in innovative new investment, for example, financially. Or if you have to make a new investment in something you have no experience with, make sure you get a specialist who has experience in it, some authority figure on that to help you with it. And things might be a bit more slower, so be cautious. And make investment in something that will not give immediate returns, but will. And if you make investments now, the only way to get returns is basically maybe a few years down the line, because Saturn delays those returns. Saturn requires time to ferment, to mature, So yes, if you're going to be investing in something, long-term investment, which can feel like a loss currently financially, whether it's your education, whether it's something that will pay off in a few years, or property or something, then this is a good time in April. Do it. It's perfectly indicated by the symbology of those two planets currently. But otherwise, don't take financial risks, crazy financial risks, innovative things, with your finances. Okay, Venus on one side is finances, on another level is you might just feel that the need to become more materially cautious, to become more organized financially, to budget better, not to spend on luxuries and things that are, just for your own pleasure. Saturn can, if you're not doing this consciously, Saturn can put the cap and block you because of outer circumstances. For example, I don't know, there are thousands of different ways that this can happen, but that you're just financially more cautious and more responsible and more mature in regards to spendings and things like that. Okay, Venus on another level is relationships. So what did we say? Big reevaluations, reality check in regards to relationships. Are you giving too much or are you taking too much? Something will slap you, something will awaken you, and that matters for everyone, but especially the people that are with mutable signs, they can feel it in a more powerful way. Or there might be extra duties and responsibilities that come to us. Venus is, Saturn is duties and responsibilities. Venus is loved people or relationships that come to us through relationships or loved people. So, for example, you might have to take care of your partner in some way, or help your partner in some way. Or you and your partner might be taking a loan together, or some extra responsibility or duty of some sort. Another way is, and that's good, because even though the aspect is difficult, you're required to do something difficult together in a business partnership or relationship. Saturn gives you the perseverance to do it, and Saturn gives you the straight head and the serious state of mind to say, yes, this relationship or this partnerships or this contract is worth it, so we're gonna put the extra efforts and we're gonna work together harder to take this relationship or these partnerships to the next level. So you can work out some kinks and difficulties in relationships as well, or business partnerships during this period, if it's worth it, And as I said, there might be the need to work hard on some Venusian projects, on some Venusian careers. You might feel more judgmental about your beauty, physical appearance, but also Saturn does a negative manifestation, but Saturn also gives you the ability to be more organized, more in regards to how you eat, in regards to your beauty routines, in regards to physical appearance. And you can streamline and downsize your wardrobe and your possessions and your assets. Venus is great for that. Say if you have bank accounts all over, a few bank accounts you can just, or a few mortgages, you can put them into one, because Saturn wants to streamline, to make smaller, to, or say you have too many clothes. Venus's possessions and beautiful things, Saturn can make you want to throw them all out now and make space for new things. Or Saturn can make you just get something that's more quality, more higher quality, which is Saturn. But that's going to be more lasting. Saturn is something lasting, You see how many different ways it can play out, from you reevaluating your relationships, to you changing your wardrobe, to you working hard on some creative projects. But I had to cover everything. And you might be hearing in the news, for example, that women of authority, Saturn is authority, women in older women, Venus is women, that something important is happening with women in authority or older women, or that women, something to do with the rights of women that comes to the surface a lot, and women kind of resisting there. It can come also with, that's a good combination if anything to do with older or more experienced women, even though it's a hard combination, such women can be much more prominent now. And if you're a woman with more experience or with more authoritative positions of some sort, this can be a really important month for you. If you're a woman boss, if you're a woman that has her own business, you're called to work harder. But again, as I said, Saturn rewards hard work. It's no fun, hard work, but Saturn rewards it with more social accolades and with more improved social status. Okay, so that's some of the ways these things can work. And then we have, let's go quickly because I don't want to. So yeah, Venus changing direction, retrograde, Saturn going retrograde. But Saturn going retrograde also means that we'll be having say if you're Aries, Saturn will be retrograde here in your 9th house. So till the end of August. So it means that retrograde Saturn will increase the responsibilities and will give you a different perspective and opportunity to change something, to improve, to correct in regards to something to do with 9th house matters, if you're Aries, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant. But with extra duties and responsibilities, and 9th house matters are connected to extra duties and responsibilities that make you change your social status, Saturn, in regards to travel, higher education, pre-qualification, in regards to legal documents, arranging something with legal authorities of some sort, arranging with teaching and traveling and studying. You might get extra duties and responsibilities, just like I'm Aries Sun Moon. I'm Aries Sun, and Saturn becoming retrograde now from this week to the end of August in my 9th house of teaching means I'm taking extra responsibilities and duties with teaching. And I thought I'm starting this 6-week course. That's going to be 6-month course for all about Aries, all about Taurus, all about Gemini, which means taking on extra duties and responsibilities. 9th house is teaching, 9th house is pre-qualifying, higher education, 9th house is if you're traveling somewhere, so if you're Aries, you'll be taking extra responsibilities and you have to be more aware and more cautious and look at different ways over the next few months. But especially now in April is very powerful. But you can come back with stronger positions by the end of August when Saturn turns direct, stronger positions that you've acquired in regards to those matters. If you're Taurus, Saturn going retrograde will affect your 8th house. If here is Taurus, Saturn goes retrograde here in Sagittarius, which is the 8th house for Taurus. So you might need to be taking extra responsibilities in regards to mutual resources and finances. There might be some delays and blockages that you have to work harder on to be more aware, to find different alternative paths in regards to being sponsored in some way in regards to resources that comes to you from others, in regards to your partner's resources and finances, loans, inheritances. And eighth house rules intimacy and the ability to bond on a deep emotional and psychological level with a partner and secrets. So you might need to go further research, to put extra efforts, which is retrograde Saturn, extra efforts in regards to be able to bond, in regards to be able to clear up things that are blocking your intimacy with another. And eighth house also rules almost like detoxing of the body. So this is a period when Saturn goes retrograde in your eighth house, when you can make a big psychological transformations from trauma, but you have to work on past trauma that is creating. Eighth house rules chronic positions. So if you're Taurus, some chronic health situations or emotional health overpowering situations, Saturn will make you work extra hard on finding the root of those when it's retrograde over the next 4 months, 4 or 5 months almost, starting from April. And to find new solutions for those, or different alternative methods, and to work extra hard, maybe with a psychologist, with someone to help resolve the psychological muck, the eighth house rules, like psychological pileup of any sort that is bringing to us chronic illness or repetitive things that we're stuck in a cycle that have control over us, and addictive things. So you have a great opportunity in the next few months to work very hard on those things and to take extra. It might feel more hard emotionally, but once you release it, after that you're clean. And then if you're Gemini, Saturn is going retrograde in your seventh house of relationships. Here you are, Gemini. Saturn is here in the seventh house. So this Saturn will be making this loop for the next 4 or 5 months in regards to your relationships. Totally, you can take a reassess your relationships. And so maybe Gemini will feel this Venus retrograde very strongly as well, because Venus is about reassessing relationships, and Saturn in your seventh house of relationships, retrograde makes you reassess them even more, and makes you make changes in your life. But especially if you're Gemini in the last 7-8 degrees of Gemini, basically I think I mentioned, though, there is something till the 22nd of June, something like that, yeah. From around the 16th to around the 27th, you would feel very strongly. But something in regards to your business partnerships, in regards to your cooperations with others, is being reevaluated, in regards to your marriage, in regards to your committed relationships, and that you are asked also to take extra duties and responsibilities with such people. And if you don't do that over the next few months, this can dissolve a relationship. Saturn is a separating factor. This can make you resentful. This can make you, remove such a relationship. There might be increased demands to you from others, whether it's your partner, whether it's your anyone that you have a day-to-day communication with. Maybe it's your clients that put extra pressure and demands on you as well. And especially in April, this can feel strong. Or there might be the need to reevaluate some contract or agreement and put harder work and more efforts into it. Remember, retrograde planet requires more efforts, but it gives 3 times better results at the end of its retrograde if you've done the work hard. Okay, and big shifts can be happening in regards to your relationships, Gemini. Okay, and if you're in business, seventh house rules your business, because seventh house is exchanges, interactions with others. So that's as well. If you're Cancer, Saturn going retrograde in your sixth house here. It's a wheel. Imagine this is a wheel. I'm not drawing it, but yeah. So that would be the sixth house. That's the first house. Whatever sign is here on the eastern horizon is the first. Saturn here in Sagittarius in your sixth. Well, it's gonna be, there might be some big shifts starting to happen from April in regards to your health. And this is just like a sign telling you there is a problem with your health, because, and sixth house is the house we can fix our health. Because health problems from the sixth house come because of our routines, because of how we're living our life, because of our daily, how we eat, how we exercise, do we work out, do we stress too much at work, what is our gut biome? So these are the health problems we have control over, with physical changes in your posture, in what you eat. The eighth house are chronic health problems or inherited health problems, which is something that we need to go deep, like psychologically, emotionally, to release. Sixth house is the ones that are because of our more material, practical actions or lack of routines or wrong routines or too much stress. So if some problems start happening in your health and your Cancer, starting in April, it's a big sign for you that Saturn is telling you, okay, I'm going to bring to the surface those problems because you're not eating right, you're working too much or something, that you have to, have more awareness about. Stationary planet and retrograde planet we require more awareness and to look at different routes of how to deal with this health issue or this mental stress or whatever it is. And sixth house rules our enemies, our competitors as well. The pressure from such people, from enemies, competitors, whether it's in court cases or at your work environment, can be extra heavy, can increase because it urges you to find a different route to deal and to work out through this issue. But Saturn likes being in the sixth house because it can give us, it's a strong, toughening planet, and we need to be strong and tough when it comes to illness, how we deal with having routines, having healthier routines, having healthier health habits, dealing with our enemies and competitors, and death. Sixth house rules death as well. So it makes you, especially when Saturn now goes retrograde for the next 4 or 5 months, if you're Cancer, it will make you much more non-compromising and much more tougher when dealing with such, and which means you can have a success and overcome such enemies like health problems, like unhealthy routines. They're our enemies. We're our biggest enemy. And often when it's the sixth house through unhealthy routines, or real enemies in life and real competitors. And sixth house is work and duty responsibilities as well. So Saturn going retrograde there can indicate that your work responsibilities and duties might be changing in some way, might becoming more demanding from your work. Maybe you're given extra workload or something, and you have an opportunity to re-examine it over the next few months and to do your work and duty responsibilities in a different way, hopefully, which will be more efficient and which will help you stabilize your work positions. This is the other meaning of the sixth house. Okay, and then we have Leo. If Leo is in the first house, Saturn is in your fifth house here. Fifth house. And fifth house is all about creative outlets, romantic relationships, boyfriend, girlfriends, your children. So what can it mean? Something might be changing and requiring more of your focus, more of your consciousness, more of your hard work and attention in regards to the life of your children, extra duties and responsibilities. I'm Leo Moon, extra duties and responsibilities around children. Some of you know already. I'm trying to keep it more private, but definitely from April, Saturn goes retrograde in my fifth house from the moon, Leo Moon. The moon rules motherhood anyway, so extra duties and responsibilities that can feel quite heavy, but that, can, and if you have children already, just they might need more of your attention, more of your focus over the next few months, especially in April. They might need more of a focused consciousness and extra hard work and more routines that you create, the extra responsibilities that you take. Fifth house is your creative projects. If it's not children, then it will be, if you're Leo, if you have your own business, it's the fifth house because you use your creative intelligence to run that business. You make executive decisions, which is fifth house again. And there might be extra duties and demands and responsibilities that the universe and more critical, not critical, but more the needs to be more focused, to be more responsible in regards to restructure something in your business, in your executive decisions for your business, in your creative approach, or you might need to perfect some hobby of yours, fifth house, and to become much more serious about it. Retrograde planet Saturn, 3 times stronger Saturn influence, which means 3 times more serious and responsible and organized. in order to work hard on some creative projects of yours, whether you're doing a website, whether you're developing pottery skills, or whether you're writing a book, some creative projects of yours, some passion of yours, some fifth house rules our hobbies and the things that we love expressing and doing. And Saturn requires you to work hard on this and maybe even turn it into business. That's an opportunity now, but it will show you different ways of doing it and to require 3 times more dedication for it to work out. And fifth house is our romantic relationships and love. So Saturn can make you reassess if you're Leo, very much your romantic love. And if you want it to work better, to remove certain things from there over the next few months, it can make you feel what is really not going well in regards to love, giving and receiving love with others, and can require, and in order for those relationships, love relationships to work, they'll only work if you take extra duties and responsibilities, or if you restructure them in some way, starting from April. Or if you take extra duties and responsibilities with this love partner, if they're willing to go down the rabbit hole with more duties and responsibilities with you, and to do the hard work in order to, in order to keep this fifth house of romance and love not blocked. Otherwise, Saturn can remove relationships that are not marriage relation, but that can cool off the passion in a relationship when goes retrograde in the fifth house, can make you feel everything that's wrong in regards to some relationship and in regards to the sharing love in that relationship. It can make you very aware. Remember, retrograde planet is about making you aware, and making you decide to work harder on it, or just one Saturn, either you work harder on something and you make it better, or if not, Saturn is a separating influence. It separates you from this fifth house thing. So that will be separating you from a hobby, from a loved one, from something, some project that you haven't put much effort into, or that it's not really realistic and viable. You can just leave it behind and decide to take a different action. Or if it's really the right thing for you, the right relationships, the right love, you work much harder at it and you commit much further at it. It's still hard work, but And then if you're Virgo, Saturn going retrograde into your first house will be, Saturn going retrograde into your fourth house, people, means that if you're Virgo ascendant, to a lesser degree Sun or Moon, there might be some changes starting to happen from next week or this month in regards to your family life, in regards to your personal life, in regards to your place of living. That will require extra efforts or extra hard work. There might be some blockages you have to resolve. There might be, because that's what Saturn is, tests our endurance and make us work harder. There might be some renovations or something that you all of a sudden over the next few months, starting from now, you might look around your house and say, oh, it needs revamping, or I need to relocate, or I need to move to a different place, or this is not working, the dynamics in my family, they're putting too much pressure on me. So what does Saturn do? You either cut it off or you work much harder on it. So you might have to make decisions like decisions between, do I cut off those family members from your life, or do I work harder on overcoming those issues? Or there might be the need to take care of family members. There might be more extra duties and responsibilities around parents, around your own family, around your property, around your garden. Some of you might just decide to recommit very deep to gardening and to, because fourth house rules the earth, the things the things that make us feel like belonging, the home, the family. And Saturn retrograde there can just indicate, okay, something is changing there. Some people, for example, if they're trying to sell property, might have to work extra hard to make something about the property, to make it more appealing, for example, to make it more so in order to sell it. Others might be renovating something about their home, restructuring something in regards to their property. Others might just need extra, Saturn is testing something to do with their family and family members. I don't want to scare you, but sometimes it plays like that you have to take more responsibility or duty in regards to such people in our life, and it is important. And it's also fourth house is what makes us happy, what makes us unhappy. So Saturn retrograde it's going to give you a different perspective and a different look on what actually makes you emotionally happy and what you have to remove emotionally so it's no longer a baggage in your life. Okay, so then we go to Libra. And Libra, Saturn is going retrograde in the 3rd house, which is actually quite a good place for Saturn to go retrograde, guys. 3rd house. And Saturn deals very well in the 3rd house. It's about, maybe your thinking can become more negative. 3rd house is our thinking, can become 3 times heavier. You might feel like, but it's a great time to restructure your thinking processes, to put more order into your life, to put more order into your daily interactions. It can crystallize the thought. It can, 3rd house rules commercial projects, and Saturn is hard work and manifesting on the material level by hard work. So it can be a good time to work very hard on some commercial projects, to improve it, to put lots of efforts in it so you can bring it out into the open, in the coming months. Maybe you have to correct something, or maybe extra duties and responsibilities can come to you in regards to working with some people in a group. 3rd house rules group activities, with colleagues, with teammates. There might be some problems that you need to resolve with siblings, with neighbors, with co-workers, teammates, with friends of some sort, because they might be more demanding. They might be putting more pressure on you as well. Saturn in the 3rd house can have to do with changes in regards to your mobility, having to travel more, take extra responsibilities that are connected to some work or some project, for example. Okay, then Scorpio, Saturn becomes retrograde in your 2nd house for money. So Scorpios will feel here the need to restructure their finances. I'm not going to do writing anymore, sorry. So a Scorpio will need to, there might be some extra duties and responsibilities that come to them in regards to family as well. 2nd house rules family and security, that they need to get more serious and responsible with money, that they need to, and they have to be more cautious financially. They have to be more traditional financially. They shouldn't take big leaps now in April. If you're Scorpio, Sun, Moon, especially Ascendant, don't make some crazy financial investments. Be cautious. I would advise you to the end of the year not to do that. If you make investments, do it in something that will pay off long term, like an investment in property, investment in something that will come off a few years from now, because Saturn pay rewards only long-term investments. And you might have to do some downsizing financially because you're saving for something, for example. You might have to do the hard work of saving, or the hard work of cropping your finances, of rebudgeting in some way so you can save for something to invest in. So it's not necessarily, you either restrict yourself financially when Saturn goes retrograde in your 2nd house, or the universe restrict you from outside. Which do you prefer? I'd always take that I make the first step rather than that the universe restricts me from outside. It can mean that you're working extra hard and that you're starting to change something and to see it from a different perspective in regards to your self-value, self-worth, which will change also your finances into the future. But if there are some more stressful financial situations, just it needs, April can be more intense there. And it means that they needs to be, what you need to do is not go do anything crazy right now. You need to be patient, you need to be persevering, and you need to, some new views will be given to you over the next few months in regards to how you are running your finances, how you're supporting your life financially and materially, how you're expending your energy, which is the 2nd house as well. What you're putting in your body as food as well is the 2nd house. What fuel you're running on, basically, whether financial or food fuel. And it's about reevaluating and changing habits, and changing and showing you a different perspective, how these things can be done more productively, more realistically, more in a way that's going to make things run for a longer period. That's the ultimate purpose of any Saturn transit, to make something longer lasting by showing you the problems that what you're doing right now in regards to your finances or money or investments or food or how you spend your energy, how it's not realistic or how it's shortening the positive effects of it. So Saturn creates those issues, so you change it. And then for Sagittarius, especially Sagittarius born in the last 5 degrees, I mentioned your days of birth, guys, especially if you're born in the last 5 degrees from around the 16th, 17th to around the 22nd of December, that if you're Sagittarius or if you have Sun, Moon, or Ascendant in the last 5 degrees of Sagittarius, that's reorientation of your life, extra duties and responsibilities that are coming overall in your life, in the direction of your life that you're required. You might feel older, you might feel that now or never is the time of new beginnings. You might feel like if you don't do it now, there is no other time you can do it. So it's new beginnings in a way, even though Saturn is going to be retrograde. You've already taken the path of new beginnings and reinventing yourself. And it happens by reinventing yourself, by becoming more serious, by becoming more responsible, more organized. Many of you either started businesses, changed careers, started on a new path in life, started taking more responsibilities about their health, because Saturn is the time, the father time, and when it's transiting exactly your sign, whether it's your sun, moon, or ascendant, it makes you very much aware that time is ticking away, that time is limited, that we're mortal, that there is a expiry date to us, and that if we don't do the things that are really of priority for us and that are really good, that like taking care of our health, going to get the job that is actually going to make us fulfilled, it starts making us feel really bad if we don't do those things. It starts making us feel like life is meaningless and we're wasting our time. And that's why Saturn puts us under so much pressure when it transits our sign. So if you're Sagittarius, especially now when Saturn, especially the later Sagittarius, now Saturn is turning retrograde, guys, for you. It's 3 times more serious. You start thinking what it is that's really important in my life. What do I remember? Saturn is depicted by the death with the scythe. It wants to cut off the unnecessary things from your life. And it wants to make you more organized, more dutiful, more diligent. And by the way, I've seen great things happen when Saturn goes retrograde over someone's ascendant, sun, or moon. Some people get into shape, start working out, taking care of their health, lose weight. Others, start really having to work, getting much more serious about the priorities in their life. It's not fun because Saturn presses you to do it, because out of feelings of things are not working out, or out of feelings of time is running out, or out of feelings of I'm crap and I suck. When someone writes to me, I'm a failure, I'm total failure, nothing works in my life, I know this person is in the middle of a Saturn transit, because we get like this very self-analytical and self-castiging, and things tend to not work if we keep on doing the same things as before, because Saturn wants to restructure us, to take extra duties and responsibilities, to become more mature, responsible. And if we've been doing the same thing over and over like a hamster without getting good results, Saturn makes us feel like failures. So that's why now for Sagittarius is a time basically when they'll see exactly what are those things they do like a hamster that are blocking their progress in life, that are making them feel stuck or failures. And those that are working on some long-term project, working hard, this is time for building foundations. This is time for when you're laying the foundations of some really important work that's gonna give long-term results in years from now on. Okay, and then for Capricorn, Saturn going retrograde, and don't forget that Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is going retrograde on the galactic center. I've spoken in my monthly videos, guys. So watch that video, how Saturn can really, going retrograde, can actually reboot many Capricorns. Capricorn, sun, moon, or ascendant people, because Saturn is stationary at the background of the galactic center, which is the womb of our soul, no, of our galaxy. This is where all the other stars, the signal, and it's like the central bureau where everything is controlled by. This is the eye of God, I would say, the womb, the galactic center, where everything of our solar galaxy is created from there, where impulses, scientists have noticed that powerful magnetic impulses, the most powerful electromagnetic impulse in our galaxy comes from the center of our galaxy. This is impulses, okay, physically this is electromagnetic waves, but esoterically these are impulses of creativity, of creation, of inspiration, of creative impulses. So your planet is aligning there, guys. You can get this reboot, this creative reboot. It's never going to happen again in your lifetime. So in this lifetime, this is not like maybe in 30 years, but Saturn is not going to be retrograde at the same degrees again as Sagittarius. So your planet Capricorn is going retrograde over the most important point in the sky, the most esoteric, the most creative, and the most turbulent, because it's a black hole. So it can wreak havoc to some of you, but it can give you powerful insights in regards to what it is you have to remove from your life and what it is you need to work very hard on and to manifest in a material way, because that's what Saturn wants to do. That's what Capricorn wants to do. It wants to create something tangible, real, physical. So yeah, and for Aquarius, the same matters, because Saturn also rules Aquarius. So Capricorn and Aquarius, this matters for your reboot, maybe powerful spiritual impulse that that can renew you totally, can create for a little bit some chaos in your life because it's such new energy, but this is the most blessed and powerful point in the sky, and your planet is there retrograding. Your planet is stationary there. It's soaking up those high vibrations now, guys. And for Aquarius, Saturn will be in the 11th house, so it has to mean that in the next few months, starting from April, they might have to reevaluate some long-term goals or work very hard on manifesting and on maybe changing certain things in regards to some long-term goal or project they're working on, which is especially connected to being financially, economically viable for them, because 11th house rules economic, financial rewards, or some kind of social rewards, recognition of some sort. So having to review certain long-term goals or plans that make you gainful, having to work extra hard on them. But that's a good position for Saturn. Saturn likes transiting the 11th house, even when it's retrograde. Yeah, it makes you work extra hard on those goals and long-term things, but you can become more, especially after August, you can see the results of those efforts and become more financially or gainful, or be rewarded in some way with status or title or financial reward. And Pisces, for you, Pisces, Saturn is in the 10th house of your career. So authority figures might become more demanding. Some older figures, parental figures, you might start feeling it in April, that are putting pressure on you, that they're requiring more from you, or your own inner authority voice. Work can start taking in career different direction. You might start reevaluating your career and thinking, is that the career I want? Is that the direction I want? Is that the vocation that is meant for me? You know, and or there might be just extra pressure that's coming to you from in regards to affirm your status for the next few months, especially starting from April. You might have to work much harder on some project, on some career with some authority figure. Maybe some career or some career projects or work projects from the past can start coming back to be redone, to be reevaluated, to be changed in some way. Whew, okay, that's about Saturn in going retrograde, what it means for you guys. And very quickly this week, Mars goes trines Pluto on the 5th. So usually around a few days, Mars trine Pluto on the 5th, 6th of April. This transit lasts maybe the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, 2-3 days before and after the exact day of the 6th, 5th of April. And who will feel it the most? Aries, Scorpio, people ruled by Mars, will feel it very strongly. Also, Taurus, Capricorn, and Virgos, because the trine is happening in Earth signs, will feel it as well. So the Earth signs, Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo, Sun, Mars, Ascendant, Aries, and Scorpio will feel this beneficial transit this week. And it gives high confidence. It gives more courage. It's able to transform powerfully as well in some way. But it kind of makes you do actions that you usually be afraid of and feel empowered by them. It might require a lot of physical effort, but you can do it, guys. And it gives incredible motivation, and it's favorable for positive changes, and great for physical exercise and physically demanding tasks. These come naturally to you. But for everyone, this matters. Mars trine Pluto, you just feel it. You can have control over your impulses more easy, especially the lower impulses. Great for sexual activity as well. And it's great for managing other people's actions and tasks as well. And then we have also Sun opposition Jupiter on the 7th of April. Will be active from the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, around those days. And Aries, Libras will feel it very strongly. Sagittarius and Pisces, who are ruled by Jupiter, and Leos, who are ruled by the Sun, will also feel it. So will Cancer and Capricorn feel it more. The cardinal signs, Aries, Libra, Cancer, Capricorn, where the opposition is happening, and Sagittarius, Pisces, and Leo feel this transit the most. And it has positive manifestation. Even though it's opposition, it means that it increases the energy levels for you around the 7th of April, a few days before and after. Makes people more positive overall. Makes people, brings optimism, and even brings material luck and career success. So for everyone, guys, this can be a good time for career success, for luck, and opportunities that come to you from others, because the opposition, the Sun oppositions are connected to relationships. The Sun is here, Jupiter is here. So, you know, opposition rules connecting, relating to others. So some help can come to you, ask in the middle, from people in good positions, from anyone, ask for support, you can receive it more. Good counsel, good advice of some sort. And someone can activate you, motivate you into action, for example. And sorry about that, maybe some noise. That can be great also for promotion, because the Sun is so enthusiastic, so is Jupiter. Promotional business activities, if you have some promotional campaign, if you want to promote some idea, new idea, because the Sun rules new ideas of yours, bring it out now. Act on big plans now as well. Negatives to be aware, after all, it's an opposition. You might be overestimating your capabilities. You might be lacking moderation in some way. Maybe more inclination to wastefulness, extravagance around the 7th of April, arrogance somehow. But generally, it's an auspicious influence. And by the way, it's been noticed that the markets, until the Sun and Jupiter reach their opposition, tend to be growing. And after that, the market starts, I'm talking about the stock markets. I've just read that from a few stock market experts. I'm not one. But they say that usually after the opposition between Jupiter and the Sun, the market starts going down. So if you're an investor or something, you know, just be aware of this. Because well, not all stocks, but a bigger percentage of stocks the market starts becoming less, not slump or dump. This happens every year that the Sun and Jupiter in opposition, but this is like when it reaches its peak, the markets usually around the Sun Jupiter opposition, then it starts going slowly down. And we talked about the Venus square Saturn. It's active the whole of April. We spent the first 40 minutes just on that. And then the Sun square Pluto on the 9th of April. Who feels it the most? Of course, Leo's ruled by the Sun, Scorpios ruled by Pluto, and all the cardinal signs, Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn, feel this around the 9th of April, a day before, a day after. And there are also positive manifestations because you become aware of issues related to power and control. You become more able to read through such issues. And you're not superficial, and you can release superficial things as well. But there might be, you know, inner fears. Pluto rules those inner fears, hidden outer obstacles. But these can mobilize your power because the Sun is initiative. And despite of the difficult aspect, these inner or outer hidden obstacles and fears, they can mobilize your power. But the negative around the 9th of April is to be careful from power struggles, of manipulation, control issues of some sort as well, and feeling pressured by people or circumstances. So that's about it, guys. That's the whole week. Interesting. Hopefully you enjoyed that. I spoke for such a long time. And yeah, thank you for taking so long time to listen to my ramblings. And I hope you enjoyed it. And I just had to speak about this week. This week is so important with so many planets changing direction. And it's not just this week, it's the whole month ahead that planets are changing direction. Mercury is becoming retrograde as well. I think April will be pivotal month for many people with so many planets changing. So we're going to be shifting as well with them. And thank you so much. And please come join me in March, in May, the middle of May. So all about Aries. Or if you want to listen to all about Taurus, will be the week after, or about Gemini, 2 weeks after that. Or if you just want to get the whole course, it's 50% off if you buy it now. So thank you so much. And if you want to know more in depth about retrograde planets and what it means to have stationary planets in your birth chart, how it makes you unique and very different than others, check out my course, which is I think only $20 or $30 for 4 hours of talking about retrograde planets, what it means exactly in the birth chart and how it makes you unique. So thank you so much, and I will see you next week.